All right, what is up, everyone? Divine Hood here. So, obviously, today we've seen a pretty big crash to the downside, and we have some very important developments happening in Bitcoin right now, as well as the total crypto market. So, you guys know that I've been following this ascending channel here for quite a while, as well as this bullish pitchfork. Pretty much from the lows on November 12th, we've kind of been in this ascending accumulation here, or possibly an ascending distribution happening as well. And we are starting to lose some key supports that have been holding, and we're starting to see higher time frame shifts in market structure that I was warning about. I've been warning about this for a few days now, and especially 2 days ago when we hit the top of this channel here and the upper band of this pitchfork here, I warned that we might see a bigger correction just based off of weekly bearish divergences confirming and daily bearish divergences confirming, and based off the total market cap having weekly bearish divergence and many bearish 4 drives of bearish divergence on the daily time frame. So I'm going to go back to Bitcoin on Coinbase, and I want to show you guys a few things that happened since I made my video yesterday. When I made the video yesterday, it was right about close here, and Bitcoin had wicked down this 4-hour candle here. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see this better. This 4-hour candle here was the close yesterday. We had wicked down to the bottom, but we were able to close up within this pitchfork band. You guys can see yesterday we wicked down below it, but we were able to close and hold the pitchfork band. And I warned about us if we take a range, what I was looking at. I'm going to go back to Coinbase's chart because I like Coinbase's volume levels better. But you can see after we had this last little parabolic pump here, we started to form a more sideways price action range. So I pulled my range from the top of the parabolic price action sideways to present. And you can see yesterday we had dropped real time. I was talking about this in Jason's Discord. We dropped to the POC, and I said, okay, you guys, we might see a bounce from here. But if we do see a bounce from here, we have to watch to come up to either test this value area high or the channel midline. And if we reject from either one of those, that's going to be confirming the bearish trend, making a lower high and continuing, and we'll probably make new lows. Well, that's exactly what happened. And actually, if we pull it to yesterday or prior to yesterday's price action, I think it was right. If I go here, the value area high. Okay, so we wicked a little bit past the value area high on Coinbase, but let's try this on Bybits, because on one of these exchanges, that value area high, yeah, it was much closer. And we had came up, made the lower high into this pitchfork band. First of all, we came back after making this low and holding the daily above this pitchfork. We had pumped up, and this morning, as soon as we rejected from this, I posted in the Discord, you guys were rejecting from this band as well as the midline of this channel. Now we front ran the midline just a little bit, but we hit into the band pretty clearly, and we saw a pretty clear aggressive rejection from this band. If I zoom in here, I'm going to zoom in onto the 30-minute chart. You can see we came up, we hit the band to the dollar. I posted about this in the Discord real time that we were hitting the band, we could be rejecting. We came back, a swing failure pattern, this local high. So we grabbed the liquidity of this local high to stop out all the longers that longed in this little area here. And then we started our dump. And once we started to lose this pitchfork level, you can see how aggressive the dump got. Once we were losing this pitchfork again, we were dumping. And then also on the channel here, one thing I was talking about all day is coming down to that 97.2K level, because that 97.2 level was a fib pull. If we take the fib, I believe it's from this low here to the highs. And if we go to the 786, let's see, that's not that one. Okay, it was from this low here, these double lows at 94K. You could see that that 97.2-ish level was the bottom of this channel, as well as the 786, and then it was also a fib extinction of a lower time frame Elliott subcount that I was looking at in here, which I said it could be the start of an impulse down, and this is starting to look more like an impulse down. We can't quite tell for sure if this is an impulse down yet, because that's such low time frame subcounts that it can get a little messy. But even so, if we look at this as an ABC correction to the downside, like on a higher time frame 4-hour, we could see this was our A wave. We came up for our B wave, and then we could be making the C wave down, I would say, to 90K. And one way we can measure that is we take our trend-based fib extinction. We go from the top of A to the bottom of A to the high of B. And you can see, yeah, our one-to-one target here, sure enough, is the SFP of these 94K lows. So if we SFP these 94K lows, come down to the one-to-one target, and that's also around the value area low of this range here, we could wick into this, close the candle at or above this, and I would be talking about a 4-hour candle, close it at or above the value area low of this range, and then we might be able to reverse, continue, and even if we continue up, we would want to be looking for a lower high to see if this bearish trend is gonna continue. Because we have to remember, we have to take into context that we have high time frame bearish divergences on the weekly time frame and high time frame bearish divergences on the daily, and multiple drives on the daily. So we really need to be watching that for a lower high in the making. So let me get rid of some of this stuff I just talked about there, and I'm going to go into kind of what happened earlier today. We didn't bounce. We did see a quick scalp bounce from this channel when we hit the 97.2. I'm going to zoom in onto the 6-minute chart. And in the Discord, we came down to it and we'd hit the channel bottom pretty much to the dollar. And some people in the Discord were asking, did I long this? And I said, no, I didn't long this one because we front ran the 786 just by a few dollars, and we had front run the 1.618 of this pull. So from here to here to here, we were looking for the 1.618, which is a little bit, we'd front ran it on this candle. So I said, I'm going to wait for another low to be made. And if we see another low with bullish divergence, even on low time frames, I'm going to give it a go. So we came back down, we made a new low. The second we reclaimed this channel, I did enter a long and I bring it up. I got stopped out, but I did get stopped out for profit, or I made some money because I took some profit on it. I think a percent or two, something like that. But we came up. So what happened is we hit the bottom of this channel, we wicked below it real quickly. Just, if you even go on the 15-minute chart, it's just a wick below it, came back up to the POC. And once we rejected this POC here, and that kind of told us all we need to know. If we're going to reject the POC, after rejecting from the value area high of the range, we come back down, we lose the POC into the channel bottom, which this channel is a very, very important trend that Bitcoin's been following since early November. So if we start to lose this trend, it's going to be bad news for Bitcoin, and we can start looking at those lower targets, the swing failure pattern of 94, or even down to 90K, which we have some targets down there. 90.6K is another swing failure pattern down there. So we rejected from this POC. We had lost it, and you can see we chopped around right below this, but right now we're trying, and we are 5 minutes away from the close, my time zone here. And so if I go on to the daily chart here, you can see that we really, really are trying to hold this channel on the daily, which it's a good thing. We're above it right now. We're holding above it. So technically our higher time frame trend is still intact. Bitcoin has not lost it yet. If I go on to the 4-hour chart, you can see here that, let me get rid of this so you guys can see more clear, and let me get rid of the 786. You can see that we wicked past it, but we still have not closed a candle really below this trend, this channel here. And the reason why I pulled the channel, I used this high here, this next higher high, and then I used this low here. And the reason why I used this low is because it had the most confluence overall if you measure with the midline as well. But there's many different pulls we could use. I mean, we could go to this low right here, down here. And if we see that, that's where the wick stopped on Coinbase. I know Bybit's wick went a little bit past that. Out of my experience with channels, I choose to use this low. Now, there's many different versions of this channel. I know Jason has a little bit different version. I think he pulled it from this low here. I know Hyper has a little bit different channel here that we didn't reject from the top. His is a little bit more vertical. But there's many different channels you can choose. Just based off my experience, I chose to put my stop, or my lower pivot, on this low here. And it's been acting pretty good here. So we are holding above it, but Bitcoin is showing some weaknesses. Even though we're at the bottom of this channel, no bullish divergences on the 4-hour. Let's go on to the 2-hour. 2-hour. We do possibly have bullish divergence on the 2-hour. So low, lower low, high, higher low on the momentum wave. So we are seeing some sign of strength or some possibility of a reversal or this area of support holding. Let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour, not really any bullish divergences there. So really kind of mixed signals, but more, I would say, bearish signals rather than bullish signals. I'd want to be seeing bullish divergences on many time frames here. I guess you could say we had some 15-minute bullish divergence, but that could have already played out. We do need to watch for a rejection from this VWAP, but that's about to reset in 3 minutes here. So if we close the candle, see 3 minutes from now is the close, and depending on where we close, it looks like we're going to close right at this channel line. But oftentimes when we do that, the next candle down could be a big flush down. It could be a big aggressive flush down, at least to 94K. So I'm going to zoom back out. We have on the 1 hour chart, you could see, at least on Coinbase, which is the chart that I respect most, that I follow most, we had pretty much semi-equal lows here. So we have a lot of liquidity resting down here at 94K that if we come down SFP into that, and I do believe if we pull this range here, yeah, it's also near the value area low of this range. So, and this is more of the sideways accumulation, sideways range happening after this vertical accumulation, this parabolic parabolic pump that we had. We had this parabolic pump, and then we started more of a sideways range. So that's why I'm pulling the range from this high here. And you could even pull it, I mean, if you wanted to go where the start of the channel is, like right here, you could pull it from there as well. But if we pull it from there, then yeah, 90K is important. So that range, I say this range pull here is also a very valid range pull. And this is, if we do lose this channel, we probably are going to come down to sweep the lows, at least the liquidity here at 90,006, that key liquidity that I had marked out. I believe it's this one, not this one. Here, yes. So this liquidity here, this key low right here, we have a lot of liquidity there. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see this better. So the liquidity of this low is around the value area low of the entire range pull of this channel that we've been in. So there's a lot of liquidity. You got to remember, in trading, it's based off sentiment. So we've had people longing every dip and bringing it up higher, and some of them, some smart traders will take profits when you get to resistances. But there's a lot of people that are holding open longs. Even good traders, they'll hold their open longs because if they don't get stopped out, their plan is still valid. They just continue to bring it higher, even if they took profit on partial position of that. So we have a lot of longs built up all the way through this channel, that if we lose this channel, we could very quickly sweep down to SFP, this 90.6 level, into the value area low, close the 4 hour candle up within this value area low, and then that would kind of reset us to continue higher. And even if that happens, it might be like a sort of distribution pattern in the making. Maybe we come up for a lower high for a Model 2 distribution, or, we'll have to see how we get when we get there. So one of the things I just highlighted in Discord, now that we're starting to lose this channel, I am looking for us to come down to SFP, these double lows. If we come back up, if we bounce from that SFP, I'm going to be looking for a lower high still. And if you look at this POC here, if it takes us a few hours to do this, maybe a day or two, we start to chop over the weekend, maybe a slow grind up over the weekend. And if you look here, this is Sunday. This is usually when the charts start pumping again, or big price action starts getting aggressive again. Sunday, Monday, if you look down here, Monday, December 23rd is right in alignment with, maybe that's right around New York Open, or that's a little bit before New York Open. That would be, we'd be coming up here. It would be in alignment with this POC, the high volume node of this range, and we could see a rejection from the bearish backtest of the channel after we took the liquidity from here. So the liquidity wouldn't be resting there. We wouldn't be looking for another SFP, and we could come down to the 90.6K where we could SFP these lows into the larger range value area low. And then we could continue to move up from there. But if I go back to this range here, I'm still, at least right now, because we play trading level to level. So right now, we're still holding our level of the bottom of this channel. If we lose it, we come back down to SFP the lows into this value area low of the smaller range, see a small bounce to make a lower high, then watch for the SFP of the larger range liquidity with the larger range pull. That's what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. And let me go on to the other chart here. because this has also been a very, very important chart. You can see that same range pull. It's a little bit, the volume levels are a little bit different. So we're at the POC. The POC on Bybit's quite a bit lower than Coinbase. And we're holding the POC right now as far as, higher time frame. We wicked a little bit below it, but we're holding the POC. If we start to pump from here, I would look for that 103 level. We could do something. There's a couple things we could do. We could come up. We could come up to backtest this pitchfork, which would also be in alignment with the value area high of this range, and then continue down to the 94K. These double lows, which are not quite as nice on Bybit as they are on Coinbase, but they are still liquidity that's resting below those. And then this flash crash wick on Bybit, I remember I covered this in a couple videos. We took the liquidity from this 90K low on Bybit, but we did not take it on Coinbase. So when all the exchanges don't get in together, usually you come back down again so that all the exchanges can get in. So that's why I've been eyeing 90.6 for like a week now, or since this happened, since December 9th or 5th. Yeah, December 5th. I said it the day it happened. We got to watch for another rotation back down there because Coinbase didn't get in on the action. So, and Coinbase is where the ETFs and the big dogs like BlackRock play, and Cathie Wood, all those people. So we could be watching for that. Now, if we do SFP, or if we hold kind of where we're at now and we hold inside this channel and we pump up, we could be looking, we just do a simple fib pull. So let me get rid of this here. And I'm going to zoom in onto the 1 hour chart here. Let me get rid of this as well. So after we rejected from this midline, we flushed down. So what I would be looking for, at least you could do a couple pulls here, but you could pull it from this low to this low, or from that high to this low. And you could be looking at the golden pocket here. And I think that golden pocket would be in alignment with the range pull here as well. It's a little bit higher. So I'd be looking at the 786 then in that case. 786 would be in alignment with that value area high retest. So we could do something like, chop around here for a little bit, a while, hold support, come up to the local 786 and value area high, and then continue down. Or if it's going to act a little bit more bullish, we could be looking at the bigger pull. So we could go from the all-time high, from the highs that we rejected from, we go to the golden pocket. And the golden pocket is in confluence with this midline because it will take some time for us to pump up there. So you can see maybe it takes us a day or two to pump up there. We could chop around here, kind of establish a little bit of support within the channel, come back up, maybe do a small rejection the first time, and then come up here, hit into the 103 level, 103.5, around there, which would be the larger golden pocket retrace of the entire move down in confluence with the channel midline. And then we could break it down, maybe even to 90K. Depends on how aggressive we get. Depends on when it happens, because if it's over the weekend, it might be a slow rejection and a slow bleed through the weekend. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. It's to me, it's holding on by a thread, but it's not looking good. I do think a larger correction has been due. We've been losing key supports and flipping them. This band here, we lost it. We rejected from this band twice, very, very clearly. We came down to the midline. We had a small bounce. When we lost it, we came back up, couldn't get back above it. So we lost the lower band, come back up to test it, back test it this morning, back tested it twice, had a very clear rejection, lost the pitchfork. So now we can come up to this low, the bottom of the pitchfork. If we reject from the bottom of the pitchfork, we continue down. So we've changed market structure on lower time frames. So lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We can expect a lower high and maybe the trend to continue. We're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Once we get there, we're going to be looking for low time frame CVD absorption. If we're seeing absorption at all on the charts, we can look at money flow on Market Cipher B, as well as momentum waves to see if there's any bull divs or bear divs up here, lower time frame bear divs. But we are seeing signs that we might continue this correction to the downside. Now, one thing that I am kind of, one hope that I have, I've been talking about this for at least a week now. On the total market cap chart, I told everyone that I was going to be looking for a flush since we rejected a couple times from this upper band. I said, I want to be looking for a flush down to take the liquidity of these two lows into the pitchfork midline. And sure enough, look what happened today. We got that flush down. We flushed down, and on the total market cap, we are pretty much at the pitchfork midline. We did SFP the liquidity of these two lows together, and we are above it. So Bitcoin's at support. Total market cap is at support. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a bounce, but the bounce is telling me through the lack of real bull divs and through the higher time frame bear divs, it's telling me that it might be a lower high in the making for more downside to continue. But we saw what I was looking for. I've been looking for this for about a week or two, and it's happening now. It's a good thing, honestly, for me. It's a way to reset the market. It's a way to flush out some of the leverage, and we planned for this. We planned for it. So now I'm going to go to total three. Total three. Last time I gave you an update on this, we were holding this lower band just barely, but I said it looked like we were going to lose it. In yesterday's video, I said it looked like, you guys, it's looking kind of weak. We did get that one little last bounce, but we couldn't get much out of it. And then when we lost it, you could see how aggressively we lost it. We flushed down, and we did flush down, and we're holding the golden pocket of this pull here. So from this last low, when we reclaimed this midline and flipped it to support, that became a key low there. So now we do our range, our fib pull from this low to the high. We take the golden pocket of that, and you can see that that golden pocket is right here where we're at now. And the altcoins are holding this. So altcoins could be considered at support. But if Bitcoin continues down, I think altcoins could SFP this low into this midline, similar to what total market cap is doing. And I would expect that to take some time as well. So maybe we could see a small bounce up, bearishly backtest this lower channel now to flip it to resistance on higher time frames. Take some time, come down to SFP these lows into the midline, and then we could see our real push up. And that would be really quite the blessing for altcoins. That would give us a great opportunity to buy any altcoins that are at support, at key supports, maybe Solana at 150, some of those other Chainlink. I think Chainlink already hit our 22 level that I covered the other day. Yeah, Chainlink's at 22 now. So that's pretty much right that level I was showing you guys the other day. But we are seeing all these coins. Remember, I said not to put too much weight into this channel. Chainlink is starting to see, we're at support. We're at support on Bitcoin. We're at support on total market cap. We're on support at total 3. And a lot of altcoins are at support. But that doesn't mean we're going to see a reversal. That means we could see a lower high bounce in the making before we continue further down. If we look at the liquidity here, this is on Bitcoin. And let's see here. So yeah, there's okay, so this is the 2-week chart on Bitcoin. We took a lot. Let me zoom out to the monthly chart here. Yeah, so at least on Bybit, you can see a lot of the liquidity. We took a lot of the liquidity that was down there, but we still do have quite a bit below here. And I think Binance's chart is actually a little bit better for this. Let's go to Binance. Yeah, so you see how much liquidity is still resting below this 90K level here. So I would not be surprised if over the next week we grind down to the 90K, to the value area low of that much bigger range pull of this entire channel. So this range pull from the start of the channel, you can see that we have liquidity resting here where Coinbase did not take that liquidity. You can see on the heat map chart, we have liquidity, a lot of liquidity resting down there. It would flush out a lot of the traders that longed the past month and a half, 2 months. And we could SFP this 90K low, close a 4-hour candle at or above the value area low of this larger range, and then try to make our way up. And even if we did that, say we chop around here for a little bit, see a lower high, flush down on Monday, Tuesday, something like that, take 90K low, we have that Christmas dump, we would be wanting to come back up to backtest this channel again, and then that could act as our lower high. We could continue down, or we could start to reclaim and start to build strength on some of these levels. It's too early to tell on that. We play it level to level, so we're just going to be watching this every day, level to level, as this happens, see what happens here. But if we do SFP the 90K lows, hold the value area low, now our key resistance is going to be this POC, which would also be in confluence with the bearish backtest of the channel. So that is something I'll be watching for if we do something like that. I mean, gosh, a lot of people got wrecked today, you guys. In Bitcoin, the last, we had 246 million worth of liquidations in the last 24 hours. But in the total market, we had $1.01 billion liquidated from the crypto market. And it was a lot of longs, $840 million long, $840 million worth of longs were liquidated in the past. So a lot of those longs that have been longing this entire channel up have been stopped out. So that's somewhat healthy, but really most of those longs that were liquidated today were longs that were all up in this area here, this last little parabolic move up. We still haven't liquidated a lot of the beginning of the channel here. I mean, obviously we liquidated a lot of it on the flash crash, but there's still a lot of liquidity resting in this first parabolic pump that we have not. And this, of course, was I think Michael Saylor was buying all the Bitcoin here, and a lot of people were bullish on it. So we have some longs to stop out still. And if we get a flush down to 90K, that in my opinion, that would be a really healthy market reset for Bitcoin to come down to these levels, test these levels, flush out a lot of the liquidity, and then we can continue up to that 113K fib channel midline, fib channel 1.618 target that I was looking at. Yeah, so that's it today. Primarily, most of today, you can see here, if we go on to Coinalyze, you can see, if you look at the open interest, it's been pretty much decreasing all day long. So what that's telling me is it's a lot of people getting stopped out or liquidated. It's not new positions. So you can see the CVD is just market orders. If people are market longing or shorting, and you can see CVD has been rising all day. So all day long, people have been trying to long this dip, and they've been getting wrecked because they're not waiting for proper confirmation. Now, I did long once at the 97.2. I got stopped out after a small TP. I still made a little bit of money, but it was worth a try because we were out of key support. I did see some lower time frame bull divs. But you can see that this whole move down today was people getting liquidated or stopped out. And I do think this can continue as well. We might see a bounce from here. The close happened, so let's go back. We pretty much closed right at this channel, you guys, right at this channel low. So I wouldn't be surprised today if we lose this channel low and then see actually an aggressive flush at least down to 94 to take the liquidity of these two lows here, and then continue, maybe make a lower high over the weekend, and then maybe come down next week to kind of get all the rest of the liquidity from this channel. So I hope this helps a little bit. You guys post any altcoin updates you want me to do. Also, let me know what kind of TA you want me to do on the altcoins. You know, I've been doing generally larger time frame TA because I know that more volatile moves are coming with the bearish divergences on high time frames. But also we can look at like intraday trades as well. We can look at some of that stuff. A lot of that can be a little bit more advanced, and you want to really know what you're doing with risk management if you're going to be longing, like kind of scalping altcoins. And you just want to have proper stops set in place, proper risk management, know your position sizes, and you also want to be watching the bigger market, because no matter what, if Bitcoin's going to aggressively crash like this, altcoins will follow. So you want to kind of be looking at the altcoin against the BTC pair as well. So I hope this helps a little bit. One more thing.